Lecture 5, Agile Practices and Change Strategy. Now, what is Agile is a good question to start with. Agile is made up of mindsets, behaviors, tools, and techniques. Agile is both a process and a culture. Essentially, being Agile is about collaboration and good communication, pushing tactical decisions down the hierarchy as far as possible, frequent releases, the expectation of change, the need to inspect and adapt work. Now, let's kind of look into some of the common concepts, behaviors, and techniques in the world of Agile. There is this concept called frequent delivery. It is better to deliver a little often than to wait until everything is complete. Frequent delivery has the advantages of early benefits and early learning. This is closely related to the next point, which is delivery of small incremental solutions and iteration towards final solution. Now, self-contained parts of the eventual complete solution are released and the delivered solution evolves. At each of the frequent iterations, the customer can commit and revise needs. The next concept is self-organized teams. These are teams without a team leader, where all decisions are made collaboratively. And the next one is empowerment. A great deal of tactical decision making is delegated down to the product delivery teams, which are often self-organized. And then close relationship to the customer. Often customer representatives are embedded in the product delivery team. The next thing that we have on the slide is an acceptance that not everything must be delivered. Usually low priority features do little to add customer value, but can still require large amounts of effort and cost. Additionally, we have these concepts, minimum viable product. So we're asking the question, what is the minimum we need to deliver that will realize some benefits and start a learning process? Prioritizing is another concept in the world of Agile. A high reliance on prioritizing is seen in a lot of Agile practices. This kind of goes hand in hand with the acceptance that not everything is required. What are the high priority items? What can be dispensed with? Now, one form of prioritizing is a technique called MOSCO. The acronym MOSCO stands for must have requirements, should have, could have, and won't have for now. So another important concept in Agile is fixed time. Deliver what you can within the agreed upon time. In most Agile practices, finishing on time is the most important thing than delivering everything. One of the frequently used terms that we see in the world of Agile is time boxes. They're also called as sprints in Scrum. This is integral to the fixed time concept. A time box is a limited span of time where work is carried out to achieve an objective. The deadline is fixed. Time boxes are managed by prioritizing the work to be done and accepting that not all of the work will be completed. Time box or sprints are often just 1 or 2 weeks long. And full transparency is another concept. Problems are shared and progress information is often updated daily. It is available for all to see. This is often done through charts displayed on physical walls or virtual displays. For all this to work well, takes understanding, good communication skills and practice. It's essential to accept that the road to learning Agile is paved with mistakes. Now, in the second edition of the Change Management Body of Knowledge, the Change Management Institute introduced a change practice framework. At its heart sits the concept of continuous and adaptive planning. Now, many writers have proposed managing change based on a typical continuous feedback cycle, adapting the plans as more is learned. Although these change cycles are well suited to volatile situations, they can be just as effective alongside a more traditional and linear change initiative. They can also be thought of as feedback-focused approaches. So we kind of start at the discovery step. This is always the starting point. Although this is part of the cycle, in practice, it is often a continuous process. Initially, it would include assessment of the change impact and readiness. Later, it would include an assessment of how effective change management interventions have been, assessing the reactions of affected and unaffected stakeholders and looking at implementation. Now, for voluntary adoption, what is the rate of take-up? For other types of implementations, how effectively are stakeholders working in a new situation? And then we move on to the ideas aspect of the cycle. So what change interventions could possibly be done to progress and improve the situation found in discovery? Example, communication, learning opportunities, etc. And then we move on to prioritization. Which ideas should we take forward? The ideas step will generally produce more work than can be accomplished in a timely manner with the available resources. The prioritization step should include, we should kind of look at estimated effort, estimated positive impact on the situation found in discovery, the risk of letting issues carry on, urgency, and the need to meet deadlines are some of the ideas that we're going to look into. In fact, we'll kind of talk about the concept of minimum viable change practice and a change backlog in the agile practices, and both of them are useful during prioritization. So we looked into the first three steps: discovery, ideas, priorities, and the last step is action. Having agreed what actions to take, they may need to be broken down into smaller tasks. This can be sequenced. Example, draft, review, approve, and distribute. The tasks are completed and lessons can be learned about how to do similar tasks better next time. So the change management cycle works well with the concept of using sprints as a change management tool. Now, what are some ideas pertaining to the effective change manager and agile change practices? Now, for change managers to be effective, they should follow the behaviors that are listed on this particular slide. They would need to assess context and apply a mix of change practices as appropriate. They need to avoid taking a single framework or model and apply it persistently or rigidly. They need to watch out for insights, for change analytics and process feedback. They would need to adapt their approaches as the situation evolves, keeping sponsors, leaders, and others involved in the change effort fully briefed. And they need to remain resilient, flexible, and willing to learn. So using agile techniques in a change management context, it greatly helps with adaptability. As noted before, many writers have discussed borrowing agile techniques to improve the work of the change management. Many practitioners have used these techniques. Much of this is brought together in the Agile Change Playbook 2020 by Dr. Jen Fram and Lena Ross. They kind of propose three capabilities: data-informed decision-making, continuous engagement, and visual and transparent communication.